After working with hundreds of people to help them regain their health and lose weight, I have seen 3 major mistakes happen over and over and over from these individuals. So in this video, I'm going to share what those mistakes are and what you can do to override them. So the first common mistake is simply looking too far ahead in the journey. Getting overwhelmed and overcomplicating things before they even get started is super common in this realm of coaching and assistance and support. So when we attempt to tackle any goal, it is very discouraging to look ahead and see how far we have to go and how insurmountable the goal itself seems. But if we can focus on mini goals along the way and just look at one day at a time, for instance, or 1 week at a time, that's so much more doable in the human mind than it is to think about 5-10 years down the road. That's just way too much to take in at once. So instead of thinking about, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to give up all these foods for the rest of my life, this is going to be miserable, why don't you just focus on your next meal or the next day of meals or your meal prep for the next week, instead of looking so far ahead into the future and making these definitive decisions before you have the data under your belt and the knowledge in your bones to know that this is the lifestyle for you and this is the direction you want to go. That will come. It will all come together within time, but you have to walk the path. You have to get from point A to point B and stumble along the way over and over and over to really understand what it is that you want for yourself and why. So the easiest way to override this is, again, focus on 1 day, 1 week, even 1 month at the most at a time for your goal setting, and set mini goals in between those sessions. So tomorrow, what do you hope to accomplish? Across the week, what do you hope to accomplish? By the end of the month, what do you hope to accomplish? Just taking a deep breath and focusing on 1 day at a time is going to be a lot more manageable than thinking about 10 years down the road or 20 years down the road, for instance. You guys might be surprised by this next common mistake because my channel is super focused on plant-based nutrition, but one of the major mistakes I commonly see people make is the fact that they are overly hyper-focused on diet and diet alone, and they do not take into account all of the other major lifestyle pillars, like getting enough... Hold on. Sorry guys, she wants to join us. This is Luna, for anybody who has not met her yet. She is our brand new baby, and she is a handful. So, some other things that people forget to take into account when they are trying to lose weight or regain their health is their sleep. Having proper sleep hygiene, prioritizing it, getting enough exercise, getting sunshine, time in nature, spending time with loved ones. Ow, 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 ow. Hey, no bite. So all these other areas of health are going to be just as important as focusing on our nutrition. Yes, nutrition is a huge piece of the puzzle, but if we are neglecting these other areas, we are no doubt going to fail. If you're not going to get enough sleep, you're not going to have proper judgment or proper energy to be meal prepping or to be making good decisions about your meals. If you're working too much and not spending enough time with loved ones, you're going to get overworked and overwhelmed and stressed out and start craving refined carbohydrates and all those things that we're actively trying to stay away from. So what you can do is just take baby steps in each of these areas. You don't have to try to tackle them all at once, but definitely take a look at your sleep schedule. How are you prioritizing your self-care, your stress management, but maintaining your healthful dietary measures as well. So making sure you're meal prepping and grocery shopping and chopping up your vegetables every week, that's going to be the best way to override this common mistake. If you're finding this helpful so far, make sure you give this video a like and consider subscribing to my channel if you're interested in learning more about plant-based nutrition and how to maintain this lean, healthy lifestyle and feel as if the weight comes off passively as opposed to, actively trying to pursue another fad diet. So the third major mistake I consistently see people make in my practice is when they focus on eliminations versus inclusions in their dietary pattern. So getting hyper-focused on the deprivation and the feelings of being left out when they don't get their treat foods. That is the mindset that most people have, as opposed to thinking about all of the wonderful things that they're going to bring into their diet. So instead of just trying to get around the dairy and the meat and, you know, buying a bunch of vegan junk food. Focus on the things that you should be eating as opposed to not be eating. That's a much more positive way to go about a healthy dietary pattern. So instead of vegan cheeseburgers and hot dogs and brownies and cookies and cakes, you can make all of those things plant-based with whole natural foods, or you could just eat a naturally plant-based diet without trying to create those old familiar versions of what you used to eat. So things like stir fries, soups, stews, salads, bowls, those are things that just naturally lend themselves to a healthy dietary pattern. All right, so let's recap. What can we do to override these major mistakes? Number one, focus on one day at a time. Just do the next right thing. That should be the only focus in your periphery right now. The second thing is to utilize a holistic approach when it comes to weight loss instead of being hyper-focused on the diet and the macronutrients and the micronutrients and the supplements and all of those different things that people get bombarded with when trying to transition to a healthier diet. Can really discourage the process. And lastly, you want to focus on choosing versus avoiding. Instead of being hyper-focused on all the things that you are actively not trying to put in your body, focus on the things that you are eating and what you will be eating in the near future. That's what's important, making sure you have a plan from day to day of what you are including in your diet versus simply what you feel the need to keep out. If you're interested in more content on plant-based nutrition and specifically how to utilize it to lose weight and live a healthy lifestyle, make sure you sign up for my email list in the description box below and check out the rest of the videos on this channel. I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye.